Did you know that every year over $30 billion is lost to travel scams? Let's dive into the worst and how you can avoid them. Traveling to new places is exciting. You get to see new sights, try new foods, and meet new people. But sometimes tourists can get scammed. Scammers know that travelers are inexperienced in this new country, so they try to take advantage of them by putting up this act of kindness. In this video, we're going to talk about some travel scams I've experienced and I've seen, and the ones you should watch out for. I want you to enjoy your next trip without worrying about losing money or trusting the wrong people. Now, let's talk about the first and most common one that can happen as soon as you walk out of the airport. When you arrive in a new city or country, you might need a taxi or a ride to get to your hotel. Some people who are pretending to be taxi drivers might approach you at the airport or train station. They'll offer you a ride, but the price they ask for might be way higher than the usual cost. In some cases, they might even drive you on a longer route just to make the fare bigger. This can be really frustrating, especially just getting off a long flight and you just wanting to relax. And half the time they're real taxi drivers that just don't work for an app like Grab. To avoid this scam, only use official taxi services. Look for taxis with a working meter or use ride-hailing apps like Uber or Lyft or Grab, Gojek. If you don't have an app, ask your hotel or a local shop to call a taxi for you. It can be really easy to be overwhelmed as soon as you walk out of the airport with all the options for a taxi, but always make sure before you land you have the taxi sorted. Now let's look at another one that I almost became a victim to when I was in Rome. If you've been traveling for a while, you might get tired and want to relax. But be careful, as some people might try to trick you with free gifts. A stranger might give you a bracelet, flower, or other small items and say it's a gift. They may ask you for money in return. Some scammers might even act like you owe them more money than the gift is worth. This happened to me when I was in Rome. I was walking around with some friends. We ended up on a bridge, and on this bridge there are a lot of vendors. One of the vendors had a bracelet in his hand. He called out to me and told me to stick my hand out, and within a split second put the bracelet on my wrist. Luckily my friend was there to stop him from tying it on my wrist. So these vendors are very good at being quick and getting you right away. You have no time to think. So be aware of this scam. To stay safe, just say no thank you when someone offers you something for free. Always be cautious of free things, as there usually is a catch. Let's look at another scam that can affect quite a lot of people that just want to see this new city from a local point of view. Sometimes in popular tourist areas, a person might approach you and offer to be your tour guide. They might say they can show you to the best attractions, tell you interesting facts, and take you on a fun adventure. At first, this sounds great, but after they show you around, they might ask you for a lot of money for their services. Some fake tour guides might even take you to stores or restaurants that charge you extra just so the guide can make money. And I've experienced this. When I went to Singapore with a tour group, the tour leader, she took us around to many sites in Singapore, but we also stopped at a few jewelry shops to try and get us to buy stuff for her to get a commission. So this can happen everywhere. Before agreeing to any tour, ask about the price up front so you know what you're getting into. And also ask what kind of sites you'll see, just so you don't get caught by surprise. Now, speaking of locals that can show you around, let's look at a scam that mostly affects guys and usually leads to them being out of a lot of money after a night out. Now, like I said, this one is mainly for the guys, but I'm sure it can happen to couples or groups of friends. If you like to get on Tinder when you travel and you match with a beautiful girl, she seems too good to be true, with great English, everything is going well. She replies quickly and it's easy to set up a date to meet her. But she offers to meet you at a club or somewhere with expensive drinks. If that's the case, then run in the opposite direction. Most of the time, it is a scam. There are girls on dating apps, even guys, that will act like a promoter and they will just order lots of drinks and other stuff on your tab, and at the end of the night, they'll just leave you and have you pay for all of it. This scam happens a lot in Vietnam, and I'm sure it's very common around the world. So if you're on dating apps, as soon as you land, just make sure you set the place, the time, where to meet to avoid being scammed out of paying hundreds of dollars for drinks. If you offer another place to meet up and she says she only wants to meet at her location or where she picks, then it's best to avoid meeting that person. It's probably a scam. In some busy touristy areas, you might notice some restaurants charge much higher than others. Some restaurants might not have prices listed on their menu or could add hidden charges to your bill without telling you. This is a common scam where tourists are overcharged simply because they don't know the normal prices. If you're unsure about a place, it's a good idea to check reviews online before deciding where to eat. That way you can find trustworthy restaurants with fair prices. And at the end of the night, always check your bill carefully. Now, this next scam is very prevalent in places like France, Spain, so it's a good idea to stick around. Now, pickpockets are usually people who reach in your pockets and steal your wallet or your money, phone, or other valuables from tourists in crowded places. They often work in busy areas like markets, subways, stations, or tourist attractions. Pickpockets use tricks to distract you. They might bump into you, ask for directions, or even pretend to need help. While you're distracted, another person may take your wallet or your phone. To avoid pickpockets, always keep your belongings close to you. Use a money belt or keep your wallet in a front pocket. Avoid putting things in your back pocket as it's easy for someone to grab them. Also, be careful with your phone. Don't leave it out in public places. Stay alert and aware of your surroundings. While you're out and about and exploring this new destination, sometimes you might be approached by someone asking for donations to a charity. It may show you a badge or even a fake story to make you feel sorry for them. They may tell you they're collecting money to help poor children, homeless people, or animals. However, after you give them money, you might find out that the charity doesn't exist or that the person is just trying to take your money. Another common scam is when someone pretends that they lost their wallet. They might ask you for your help, saying they need money to get back to their hotel or pay for food. They may tell you a sad story to make you feel guilty. Don't feel pressured to give them anything. It's okay to say no and walk away. Sometimes a person might injure themselves or fake an injury. They might act like they need money for medical bills or to get home. I've even seen on Chinese social media older people walking out in front of cars trying to get hit or trying to cause some sort of accident. They can put the blame on the person trying to help them, and that person has to pay their medical bills or give them money. So in another country, I know you want to try to help someone, but maybe think twice before jumping to help them right away. It's really important to not get involved with fake accident or any kinds of accident. Now let's look at another scam that has become very common, especially with how many people use debit cards nowadays. Make sure you stick around because this scam can happen to anyone and you can lose a lot of money if you're not smart about this one. ATM skimming. It's when criminals put a special device on an ATM to steal your card information. These devices can steal your card information and store them so the criminals later can take all your money from your account. Some criminals also put tiny cameras nearby to watch you enter your PIN number. To avoid this scam, only use ATMs in safe, well-lit places like inside a bank or busy area. Before using an ATM, check for anything unusual. If something looks odd, don't use that ATM. Now let's look at number 10 on this list. This next one is the bait and switch scam. In a bait and switch scam, you might see a deal that seems too good to be true. For example, a shop might advertise a really low price for a product like a phone or souvenir, but when you try to buy it, they tell you that it's out of stock or that the price has changed. Then they try to sell you something else for a much higher price. To avoid falling for the scam, always ask for the total cost before buying something. Now let's look at another scam that can be too good to be true. This next one is the hotel room upgrade scam. In some hotels, the staff might offer you a free room upgrade. It sounds great at first, but after you accept the offer, you might find that the price was much higher than initially offered. Sometimes the upgrade comes with hidden charges and you might end up paying a lot more than the original price. Before accepting any upgrades, ask about the total price and make sure there are no extra fees. If you're unsure, you can always decline the offer and stay with the room you booked. And you can also avoid booking with lesser known hotels. If you stay with the bigger chain, you're much less likely to run into these kind of scams. Now let's look at probably the most common scam that really frustrates people. And even though they're traveling to see the destination, you still want to stay somewhere comfortable. Some travel agencies or hotels might offer deals that seem too good to be true. They might advertise low prices or special deals that sound amazing, but when you get to the hotel or destination, prices might be higher than expected or the service might be really terrible. The room might be old and dirty. It might be way different than the photo. Now, to avoid this, always check reviews online before booking a hotel or tour. Research the company, and especially Airbnb nowadays. Anyone can really make an Airbnb and put up a listing. They can put up outdated photos. Sticking with hotels is a good way to avoid this happening with accommodation, but I know some people prefer Airbnb, which is totally fine. Always check reviews, especially check how recent they are. So these were travel scams that could ruin your trip and make it hard for you to have a really good time. Have you experienced any of these travel scams? I would love to hear some of your experiences down below. I also have other videos talking about over tourism and top destinations to visit. Make sure you check them out. Thanks for watching.